Every town has its secrets. Every family has its stories. And sometimes the truth is far darker than anyone could ever imagine. Welcome to Murder Syrup. Sweet like syrup, dark like the truth. Where we pour into cases that have shaken Canada, the US, and beyond. Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Murder Syrup. I'm glad you're here. Whether you found this podcast because you love true crime, you're fascinated by criminal investigations, or you simply enjoy hearing the stories behind the headlines, thank you for pressing play. This is the beginning of something I've dreamed about for a very long time. Most people in my life would know I am a true crime junkie. I am obsessed with true crime, some would say. I want to know why. I think that's why I get so invested, why people do what they do. Also, as somebody that grew up in the Niagara-Hamilton area of Ontario and that now lives in the Kingston area of Ontario, I can tell you there are notorious crimes that have happened in the 500-kilometer stretch of the places I have lived. And when these things happen, they shake communities to their core. It's almost like it becomes a landmark, notoriously known for. It's part of the story. It's always there. In time, I'm sure it becomes urban legend, but it's always there. You drive by a house where something has happened. You drive by an area where something has happened. You're telling somebody directions or locations. You bring it up because they are known facts. They become markers in communities. These are real people, real stories, real lives that these have happened to. As somebody that has also been a victim of a crime, I can tell you, it doesn't go away. It does not change what has happened. You live with it all the time. It becomes your story, your imprint. I was into true crime well before I was a victim of a crime. I wish I knew the signs. I wish I listened to my gut. People that are aware, you think you're aware of things, but you're not. I look at these stories and I watch them and documentaries and I think all the signs were there, but they weren't there. Regular, everyday people are not looking for the evil that's out there. They don't go out searching for evil. They want to believe everybody's good, that these things don't happen in their backyard. How could they happen in your backyard? That could never happen. It only happens on movies and in TV shows. But it doesn't. It happens to everyday people like me, like you, in everyday towns, like the ones I grew up in and live in, and you grew up in and live in. And that is why I thought, why not start a podcast? And you're probably wondering, why Murder Syrup? She's Canadian. That's probably why. No, not really. Me and my boyfriend were driving one day, and he is forced to tolerate my true crime passion, listening to, watching my true crime. We are driving one day, and we live in an area where there is a lot of maple syrup places. And he said to me, we should stop and get some murder syrup. And we both paused. And he said, oh my gosh, you have done this to me by listening to all this true crime. Now it's just coming out like that. He meant we should stop and get some maple syrup. But because of all the true crime podcasts that I listen to when we drive and that, he had said murder syrup. Little did he know that little mix-up of words would become the future name of my podcast. I have him to thank for this. Now, our first 3 episodes are going to be about none other than the Taylor Parker case. This case is what made me start the podcast now, because I am, you would say, obsessed with this case. Netflix released a documentary called Maternal Instinct, and it has gripped the true crime world like no other. I am watching as much as I can on it, researching this crazy to the point where Terry literally walks out of the room and goes into the other room to watch something else. I honestly think that it is the depths of depravity, evil, meeting the brightest light in the world. Those two. Meaning, Taylor Parker is the depths of depravity evil, and Reagan Simmons Hancock is an amazing bright light. There were so many signs. I am Canadian, I'm not American. There is HIPAA down there. At what point do they change the laws to actually make it so that something like this could never happen again? It is just jaw-dropping. I understand the manipulation and being taken over by it. I too am a victim of a crime. A lot of people can be manipulated and not know. So I think this particular crime has just left me with so many questions. I have my theories on it. I have my theories on what he probably wanted to have happen, but they are not founded factual theories. Obviously, they're just what I think. So we're going to get into that case. I'm going to do 3 episodes on that one. And then something that's going to be for my subscribers, we're going to have a little subscriber only bonus episodes of Terry's take. Now, Terry will not make a appearance on camera for the ones that are watching via YouTube, and that he doesn't like to be on camera, but he will be in the background and we will be sitting chatting like we're having coffee and just be talking about the case, what he thought, what his take was, all of those things, theories, all of that. And he will be making an appearance for the majority of the cases, a lot of the big ones that we go through, which is exciting. The founder of the name Murder Syrup will be participating for those subscribers, which I think is great because he was not into true crime. He's not a true crime junkie like me. So it's somebody else's take of looking from the outside in of somebody who is a true crime junkie and their take on it all and the whole case had on me. So that's something that will just be for my subscribers to have a little special treat. There will be more stuff for subscribers as well. So what you can expect from this podcast is that every episode is just going to feel like we're just chatting about a case. We're going to dive into some of the most compelling cases right now. I feel like there's a couple of documentaries that Netflix has released about women and crimes. No number. I have so much to say about that and more. So we're going to dive into some cases, some really well-known cases. I'm also going to dive into some cases that are around my area and around where I grew up. There are some cases here. For instance, in the Kingston area, there is the Shafia family murders, the honor killings that happened in Kingston. That's been a while. I remember that when that happened and watching the documentary on that. We're going to look at, there's also the Russell Williams case with the military. We'll look at the Tim Bosma case. These are just very well-known cases that have happened in areas that I know have been personally affected because I've been in these areas and how they are still talked about. Paul Bernardo case in St. Catharines. I grew up, I was just about in high school when that happened in that area. There are so many cases where it just get talked about, and also the Canadian legal system and where they are now, I think is fascinating. So many years later, some of them aren't even in maximum security. The Canadian system is different than other systems. Our life sentences aren't the same. And just some of the cracks in that we'll get into in this podcast. So there's just a lot I want to talk about. So if that's something you're interested in, if you have any ideas, please send a message. I want to know more. This is something that I'm just really passionate about talking about. I feel that true crime, I absolutely don't know why, but I'm fascinated by it. If you enjoy the podcast, please follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave a rating and review. Share it with another true crime fan. These small things help independent podcasters reach new listeners and grow. I'd love for the podcast to become more than just something you listen to. I want to make it a community. So if there's a case that stayed with you and you think deserves more attention, or if you have questions after an episode, reach out. Your suggestion might become an episode. Thank you for being here at the very beginning. It means more than you. This is only the first chapter Next episode, we begin our first investigation, the story of Taylor Parker, a case built on deception, obsession, a crime so shocking that even experienced investigators struggle to comprehend it. Until then, stay curious, question everything, and remember, sometimes the sweetest stories hide the darkest secrets. I'm your host, Michelle, and this has been Murder Syrup.